welcome back to Peek Inside Freezer Meals. I am doing freezer meals. I wasn't sure if freezer meals were going to fit back into our life because I started doing them 3 years ago when my husband was away for military school and I was making home cooked meals for him. I will link all my freezer meal videos down below, and I make mine a little different. I cook my stuff and then kind of portion it, so all you have to do is heat it up in the microwave. But the way our life is right now, it's something that fits. I like it because I can have home cooked meals that are already portioned out for me. So if I'm at the gym or have a lot of errands and stuff or appointments and stuff to do in the morning, I can take it out before I leave. When I come home at lunch, I can heat up like a nice stir fry or nice homemade soup. My husband's going to school till 6 o'clock at night. Those nights I don't want to cook because some nights he's later depending on traffic and if he has tests. So that's another great way to use them. Another one is my mother is getting older and she's not cooking for herself as much, so I want to use some of these for her too. And then the last thing is our daughter is in university and she comes home for Thanksgiving and that, and then she's like, oh mom, I'd really like some chicken pot pie or, you know, chili. And I don't want to be cooking other meals on those weekends when she comes home because we're going to be having turkey, or I usually cook a roast beef. So that way when she comes home, I can send her home with some home cooked meals too. So this is the way I do it. All in one morning. I like to be organized when I do it, and this is what works for me. I'm also trying to do a rotation. So I want to have at least 2 or 3 different freezer meal rotations so I can know exactly what I need, how I do it, and how many it makes. So here is my freezer meal cooking. Okay, a food prep day. I have a list of I'm not saying this is exactly how it needs to go, but I have everything here, kind of the order that I want to do it, and then I also have a reminder of the meals that I'm making. So I try and kind of not overwhelm myself with too much stuff. The first thing I do is make sure that I have an empty dishwasher for quick cleanup. I compost, so I have a compost bowl for the remnants of my vegetables. I have my recipes here. The first thing I'm doing is chili. My sinks are clean. I have a fresh towel because I washed my hands about 100 times doing this. I have my Instant Pot out because I'm using that for my first meal. And then I am trying just to keep it with one pan so I can keep washing it. I have my large heavy bowls ready to go here, and then I have some meat that I thawed out and it's ready to go. So for me right now it is 7:39 and I am gonna get started. I also have very comfortable clothes on. I just have a pair of loose capris and a really nice kind of warm shirt on. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut my chicken breast in half because I'm going to use this for 2 different recipes. Just on a cookie sheet with tin foil. I'm splitting them in half. This is going to be for the Tex-Mex soup and the chicken pot pie. And Linus is supervising again. And then I'm just going to put some salt and pepper, put it in the oven, and then let those bake. So that will be cooled down and ready to go. Now what I am going to do is ground my beef for the chili. I don't normally use these tubes, but for chili I think they're perfect. They're all exactly 1 pound, so it's something I might use again for freezer meals because I find it's quick and easy. So what I'm going to do now is start opening up all of my cans. I just take the pot out of the Instant Pot and I try and kind of keep things clean because I do also recycle. Rinsing my beans, just opening and dumping and rinsing so I can put everything into the recycling bin. So I'm getting the green peppers chopped up for the chili. Sometimes you can go ahead and do this ahead of time, but I just like to kind of do it as I'm cooking things because sometimes things come up, or you know, you might have to leave or go pick the kids up at school or something like that. So I kind of like to just do it as I'm preparing things, so that way if something happens, I'm not letting anything go to waste. So I am using the Instant Pot for chili today. I decided to put in a can of tomato paste. I just like to do that. And then I'm going to get the ground beef in there and then mix it all up. I'm just breaking it down a little bit. This was a little bit fattier than the beef that I usually use, so I just had to make sure that I scooped it out. So into the Instant Pot this baby is going, and I added more chili powder because I like it a little bit spicier, but I do like using the packs because they do help to thicken it up. So what I am doing now is I am getting the peppers ready to roast for my soup, and I had these in the freezer. I chopped them when they were all on sale, and I knew that, so that is part of the reason why I made this recipe too. This saves me a lot of time. So sometimes when you're doing that weekly food prep and you have vegetables that you know that you might use ahead of time, go ahead and throw them in the freezer. And I'm also doing a quick cleanup of the kitchen. So there I am just getting ready to put the peppers in. I'm putting it on broil, and then I'm just taking the chicken out to let it cool. And once again, I'm just trying to stay up on cleaning things quickly as I go. Okay, so this chicken is cooked. All of this is done. Okay, so I'm broiling the peppers now because I just want to get that done. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is my pan is clean, my frying pan. So I'm gonna brown the sausages, and then I'm gonna make my sweet and sour sausages because that does have to bake. So I like to make my meals as if I'm making them because I always find leftovers taste better, and this way all I have to do is heat them up in the microwave. I also put everything I'm using into one box. That way I can just pick it out as I need it, and my countertops aren't cluttered with all of the cans. So now I am making my sweet and sour sausages. I do have a recipe video for this, so I will leave the link down below. Okay, I am going to make rice right now. I have white rice, that's what I'm using. I have tried brown rice, but I am not a lover of it. So white rice, 3 cups of white rice to 6 cups of water. I am starting to get a little bit overwhelmed right now. So these sausages are the bag that I bought at Walmart, $9. I used the whole bag. These were really nice sausages, and I would definitely repurchase them. I thought it was a really great price and also great quality. So I use my scissors for everything. They just make life a lot easier. So I am cutting up the sausages. I am having problems with my Instant Pot. Sometimes getting it to come to pressure, the valve doesn't come up because there's not enough liquid, and I don't know. My Instant Pot and I kind of have a love-hate relationship. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. So sweet and sour sausages are in the oven. Okay, now I am just cutting up the chicken. Once again, I am using my handy dandy scissors because that just makes life a lot easier, and my hands are clean. So what I am doing is cutting this up for the chicken pot pie, and then I'm also cutting it up for the Tex-Mex soup. So when I go to assemble them, it's already done. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so this is in the oven. The rice is being made. And I'm gonna chop my chicken. Okay, so that's all done. So it's 8:41. I'm gonna take a quick break and my husband's gonna have breakfast. I am running into problems with my Instant Pot. It's just, it never wants to come to pressure, even though it should be. So I'll figure it out. But this, I either love it or I hate this thing. So let me know if you guys have the problem. It's finally coming to pressure, so that should be done soon. Okay, it is 9:04. My oven is a mess, my stove. The rice is done, so I just have it sitting there. This pot is clean. I have 15 minutes left on my sweet and sour sausages. Peppers are all cool. The chili, it did work. Ooh! Sorry, the chili is done, so I'm just gonna let that little baby sit and just thicken up a bit. Somewhat clean. Okay. So what I want to do now is, I'm not going to start this yet. I'm going to get my chicken pot pies assembled because those have to go in the oven too. So like I said, I just cook everything as if I was making it and having leftovers. That is how I like to do freezer meals. So this is a quick and easy Bisquick one, and I will explain it as I do it. Okay, now I'm really starting to get overwhelmed with everything. So what am I doing now? I am making my chicken pot pies. I use the Bisquick recipe. I really like it. It's just simple. It's something I got off the box and my daughter really likes it too. So I'm making 2 of these for the freezer meals. The recipe for this does call for frozen vegetables, but I just decided to use canned ones because we really don't eat these vegetables, and I knew that they kind of go to waste, and the cans are the perfect portion. I also used the biscuit package because it's from Dollarama and it's already portioned out. So I added the egg and milk, even though it says just to add water. It ended up being really thick, but it still works out, and just putting a little bit of elbow grease in there. So then I am making a double batch of these, and then I put them on a cookie sheet just in case they were to spill over, and it makes for an easier cleanup. So now I'm going to make my Tex-Mex soup. I do have a video for the recipe of this, so I will leave the link down below if you want to know exactly what goes into it. And my rice was done, so I just took it off of the element and then I just put it on the other one so it can just sit and fluff up. This soup has kind of weird ingredients in it, like it has salsa, then I add a can of 6-bean medley. It has a whole bunch of spices to really get the Tex-Mex flavor, and it also calls for a can of brown beans with maple syrup, so it kind of gives that sweetness. And then I'm just chopping my peppers up into smaller pieces for the soup. Okay, so I don't have the biggest kitchen. My spices are all over the place, falling out, and I'm really getting overwhelmed now just because there is stuff everywhere. So what I'm going to do is start putting stuff away, and I had a Coke in the fridge on the go, so I took a drink of that. And now I'm going to get the steak into the frying pan so I can get that browned up, and then I am just going to load up the dishwasher and get some surface areas cleaned up so I can move on to my next meal. Okay, I am going ahead to make cornbread muffins. Steve really likes cornbread, so I'm just wiping out my muffin tin. I am just making the muffins so that way I can put them in the container with the chili. So when Steve goes to have his chili, he can have it with cornbread, or if Sarah wants him to, it would be 2 servings and then 2 muffins. So I'm just using the package. So now I am getting all of the vegetables chopped for my moksuyaki, another great recipe that I really love. I do have a video for that too, so I will leave the link down below, but I thought you guys would enjoy seeing the whole process of my whole freezer meal morning. So I'm just measuring out the beef broth. It said to use 2 cans, but this was cheaper just to buy the one. And then I am making the water and the cornstarch to thicken it up and measuring out the soy sauce. For the moksuyaki recipe, I did make a double batch, and then I also made a double batch of the sweet and sour sausages because I wanted to have extra so I could share it. Okay, I haven't checked in with my list. So all of that stuff I just finished up. The chicken pot pie is done. The soup is done. The cornbread is done. The squash I'm gonna wait and do it this afternoon because I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. So packaged chili, packaged soup. Okay, so right now it's 10 after 11. So I have my rice is done. The soup is just kind of sitting pretty. That's why I like the soup. It doesn't have to sit for hours to get the flavor. It's already there. It's really quick and easy. But it's one of those soups that I find with Steve it's a little bit too spicy for him. And I know my mom wouldn't like it. And Sarah does like it, so she can pick it too. So I am just going to let this sit. I'm going to take it off the heat because it's going to thicken up. My chili, it's good now. So I just have these few dishes to clean up. My 2 pot pies are here, so I'm going to let those little beauties cool. My cornbread muffins are there, and I'm starting to get my assembly going, and my sausages are there. So I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to take about a 5-10 minute break just to put my feet up, just to kind of regroup, and I also want to let things cool because I don't want to cut this too much, and I'm also trying to figure out portion sizes and also my containers. I'm hoping I have enough containers, but I can quickly run to Dollarama to get more because this one here, I think because of how smoothly today went, I think once everything is empty again, I would do this again because I'm so organized and know exactly how to do it all. Okay, now it is assembly time. I was using like disposable tinfoil ones that I would recycle. These Rubbermaid ones, they're packs of 5. These ones I purchased at Walmart. They are awesome. And from doing past freezer meals, mixing the rice with the stir fry didn't work. So these containers are perfect because I can put the sausages in one side and then I can put the rice in the other. And I am going to do the same with the moksuyaki. Okay, now I'm cutting the chicken pot pie. The first one I cut into sixths, and then the second one I cut into quarters. And when I went to see which was which, I couldn't tell the difference. So next time I go to do this, I would definitely just leave it in quarters, because if Sarah takes it, it could be 2 meals. Maybe it would be a good dinner. I don't know. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Okay, it is 10:48. I'm gonna keep assembling everything and making room. I am gonna have to run out and get some more containers, and that's okay. Like I said, I'd rather do this all in one day and get it out of the way. And my batteries are dying. I'm running out of memory cards, so I'm gonna keep battling away with this, and then I will show you guys all of the finished product. Okay, it's 11:26. A messy kitchen is a sign of a successful meal. I have rice left over. So I have 6 containers of chili with 2 cornbread. Then I have 8 containers of just chili. That needs to be cleaned up. My dishwasher is running. So I have 6 portions of lunch size chicken pot pie, and then I have 4 dinner size. I have 8 sweet and sour sausages with rice. Okay, so for the soup, I did 10 single serve. I add cheese and sour cream and guacamole to help make this a little bit richer. And I also use these containers because the lids screw on, and then that way I don't have to worry about them popping off in the freezer. That is a double batch of soup that Steve and I could have for dinner one night. And then once again with the matsuyaki, I did the rice on the side and I ran out of containers, so I purchased these ones at the Dollarama. Same price. They all end up coming to $1 a container, and this way I can reuse these containers. They go in the dishwasher, and then all I have to do is put them into a container for my next freezer session. Okay, so now it is 12:03. This still has to be cleaned up. So this soup and the chili is in here. I have the sweet and sour sausages in this tan one. The matsuyaki is in the gray, and then the chicken pot pie, I could not tell what was a quarter and what was a 6, so I have 10 chicken pot pie, so I have it rough down here. I will leave the link on how I really do an inventory of this. It gives you the general idea, so I just keep an inventory, and this will go in my home management binder. So I am going to get all of this stuff put away, get my kitchen cleaned up, and then my husband's home, so we're probably going to have lunch, and then I'll get on the squash. Okay guys, that is my freezer meals. I did not end up making the butternut squash soup. We ended up having a really bad storm, and our hydroelectricity was knocked out for 16 hours, and I just didn't want to start cooking, but that's okay. I will leave the link for the recipe down below. It is from one of my Vlogtober videos. It is a really nice soup if you like squash, and I know this time of the year it goes on for a really good price. And I am so happy with the way that my meals turned out. I am so happy that I found those Rubbermaid containers. I do purchase some of them at Walmart. They are reusable. I put them in the dishwasher. They hold their shape really good. The ones that have no divider in it, they're not as strong as the Rubbermaid ones. So the Rubbermaid ones are about $1 for each container, but you can use them over and over again. So I'm just gonna have another place to store them, so when I go to do this rotation, I know exactly what it makes. Or if I go to make a double batch of this, I know it will make 8 containers. So it's always kind of nice to know that. So I am gonna be getting my home management binder organized now that I kind of getting back into a rhythm with my husband back in school and knowing our schedules. So that will be coming up soon. And I will also be doing an updated freezer organization. I do have one. I will link it down below. It is older, but I've gotten some new containers and some new ideas now because things are always changing. Systems always need to be improved because life changes, you know, sometimes kids go away, sometimes kids come back home, and you always have to stay on top of it because it is so easy for a system that's working to kind of you know, not work anymore. So you really have to stay on top of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed these freezer meals. I hope it gives you guys some ideas. Another great way to do freezer meals is if you're really busy, is to double the recipe. I doubled a couple of my recipes, and instead of having 4 containers, I have 8 containers. So, you know, that's a couple of meals for my family and myself, and then I can also share with my mother. So if you guys enjoyed this freezer meal video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, please subscribe, because I will be coming up with, I guess, Roto 2 of my freezer meals. So I'm super excited to get more and more organized as I do this, and happy that it still fits into our life, even though things are always changing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.